I have to say, I've got kind of a little bit of the big head. I mean, I'm a Duplin County, Eastern North Carolina farm girl, and for me to be on the New York Times bestseller is kind of a big deal. So last week I went up to Harris Teeter and I signed my check, New York Times bestseller. Because really, how often do you get to do that? I intend to do it every day of my life. It was a big, nice, juicy surprise. I've got some theories on it. You know, I ran out Sunday. I was so excited. It was last Sunday's edition of the New York Times, which I did not know cost $6, y'all. So I went out to my little quarters over at the K&W. Y'all got K&W up here? It's a cafeteria. It's fabulous. Fantastic, you know, soft food. And so I had $6 worth of quarters, and it was kind of pitiful because when I got it out of the box, I realized they only print 1 through 20, and I was number 31. But that's okay, as I've explained to other folks. My husband first, I told him, because he was a little downcast, it wasn't in there, and I'm like, oh, no, it's still on the list, it's just expanded list. And it's just the same as what do you call the fella who made the lowest GPA and graduated from med school? What do you call him? Doctor. So see, it's absolutely no different. I intend to build this for all it's worth. So 11 years, 6 books, finally made it. Very happy. Yeah, you don't sweat much for a fat girl. Now the title comes from, does anybody know, can you imagine where it comes from? Because I've had some people guess. Any guesses? No. Well, it's Andy Griffith. You know, all things good come from the Andy Griffith Show. And perhaps y'all remember an episode where Andy was counseling Goober, who was not very much of a Lothario. He wanted to court, and he wanted to, you know, have all these women in his life, or well, just one. And Andy said to Goober, he said, you've got to talk to a woman. They like sweet nothings. They like little nice things whispered in their ear. And he said, okay, I got one. It's like, you don't sweat much for a fat girl. And Andy was like, no, that's so not what I had in mind. So when I first saw that episode, I guess I was probably 8 years old, and I always thought to myself, even at 8, I thought, that's going to make a heck of a book title someday. So there you have it. And the secret is, you know, it's all about marketing. You know, look at this precious woman on front. You know, when you see that book, the St. Martin's people are real good at making the title make sense with the cover. And another great thing about them is they will always let me have cover approval, which I am so grateful for. And I saw this, there were a couple of other takes on it, and I thought, no, she's fabulous. So, you know, yeah, she really catches the eye, I think. Yeah, she's awesome. This book, like so many others of mine, all of my books follow kind of a format of humorous essays. Some are broken down into like sections, like they're at home, kids, you know, work humor, that sort of thing. This one just kind of rambles all over the place, but I hope in a delightful way. A lot of what I write about is just simply stuff in everyday life that I encounter. I don't think I encounter anything more than any of y'all do, probably less, but I just kind of sticks in my brain and I can't stop thinking about it. It wakes me up at night, so I start writing about it the next morning. That's usually the way it works. So one day, y'all, I was feeling a little stressed, and somebody told me, they said, you know what works out my stress is yoga. Well, you know what, I was thinking, you know, Jack Daniels works out my stress. But I was willing to take the high road just one time. And so I said, well, all right, I'll go to the yoga class. And it was at the art museum, which makes it all the classier, right? So, this lead essay, I want to read it to you. It's not terribly long. I'm not going to sit here and just read to you, maybe just a little bit. But this came out of a true experience of my first yoga class. How many of y'all do yoga? It's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. Happy, joy. There's staggeringly good news on the health and fitness front at last. Are you sitting down? I mean, if you're like me, you're almost always sitting down, which isn't a bad thing if you're about to learn. Turns out a 12-year-old long study in Denmark has concluded that women who have skinny thighs have twice the risk of heart disease as us normal women. Can I get a na-na and Nana, my fluffy sister, and in your face, you supermodels with your spaghetti stems. Somebody please pass the pork fat. Let me get on with the serious business of avoiding a heart attack. I am all about being heart healthy. The study followed 2,800 Denmarkese, yes, I know that's not, but the real name makes me hungry, and discovered that the portion of the population with thighs smaller than 23.6 inches in circumference, and y'all are all going to go measure, I know that, because as soon as I read it, I had all kinds of tape measures out, had twice the risk of heart disease. Now, to be honest, I thought that 23.6 inches sounded like a lot of inches when I first read that. I mean, that's like almost 2 feet of inches, if my math memory is correct. So I got out the old tape measure, and y'all guess what? My thighs, which are actually kind of thigh-normous, are exactly 23.5 inches. Too much information? Suck it. I'm fit by Denmarkian standards. The study does not explain why thicker thighs make a healthier heart, but who the hell cares? And yes, I want fries with that communion wafer. There's some speculation it's because thinner people hereinafter referred to as the damned have less muscle mass to initiate the metabolic breakdown of lipids and glucose. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of when I read about it, sort of, if you remove the part about metabolic breakdown of lipids and glucose. This news came with caveats, of course. Caveat is a Latin word which means dead person or funny neckerchief. I forget which. Anyway, the big caveat is that people who have thighs quite a bit bigger than the delightful and healthful 23.6 inches in circumference. In other words, anybody who's ever eaten a turkey leg at Disney World and wondered why they have to be so damn small are not healthier by nature. They have gone and gotten themselves a bad case of an overhealthy heart. Scientifically speaking, the study finds that a woman who is barely over 5 feet tall and weighs 135 pounds is half as likely to have heart disease as, say, Heidi Klum. Now, before all you supermodels get your Versace's in a wad and accuse me of wanting you to have heart problems, let me hasten to say that nothing could be further from the truth. Scurvy, maybe. Pellagra, possibly. But not heart trouble. It also should be noted that Denmark is frequently the winner in the annual poll of the world's happiest countries. Small wonder. I'd be happy too if I lived in a country where big thighs were considered healthy and desirable. The breaking news from Denmark came out just about the same time as the Time magazine cover story on the myth of exercise. I bet some of y'all saw that. That rocked my world. In which a very learned scholar wrote that while it's good for you, exercise won't make you lose weight. In fact, and this part cracks me up, exercise can actually lead to weight gain because of the notion that you're entitled to wolf down a platter of nachos the size of a hubcap and on the border, and after a half-hour workout on the elliptical. Your chickens have come home to roost, you diet-obsessed hand-wringers, and I want mine fried with a side of tater salad, extra mayo for my part. Now, ever since I read the study about the proud Denmarky people, I've been thinking about cutting out my weekly yoga at the art museum, but I don't like it too much, except for the parts where the middle school classes taking tours past the Mary Cassattes and so forth point and laugh at us when our asses are in the air. For downward-facing hag, or whatever you would call a room full of mostly middle-aged but undeniably enlightened women folk in loose clothing. What if all this yoga makes my thighs get smaller? Still, I'd hate to give it up because yoga really does give me a certain peace and clarity of spirit. Okay, I made that up. It just feels good to be somewhere for a whole hour without anybody being able to find me and ask me to do some shit for them. I'm fairly certain that's why it was invented many decades ago by Yogi Berra, a famous baseball player, who was excellent at avoiding real work. I never saw myself as a yoga-type person, but then I read Eat, Pray, Love, whose author, the glowy, flowy Elizabeth Gilbert, described how her deep and intense voyage of self-discovery. How many of y'all read that, Eat, Pray, Love? Oh, you know, y'all did. We had, it's like the hell, you have to have read it, you know. She described her voyage of self-discovery, which included dumping her perfectly nice husband. Did you notice that? No problem with him. And visited several different continents, led her to realize that she could eat 9 pizzas in one sitting in Italy and still feel good about it. She was headed to India to do some yoga. I think there was a little more to the book than that, but that was my favorite part. Yoga sounds so cool. Our teacher, a young woman fairly bursting with good health, meets us where we are, so to speak. You can rest when you need to, she said on the first day of class, seeming to look at me for a very long time. Perhaps because I was the only one who had never had so much as a smidgen of yoga before. She knew this because I had announced it repeatedly, so she was setting the bar low. I was delighted that she understood, and so I did rest for an hour. Just lay there on the purple yoga mat my friend Christy got on the yard sale for 50 cents and loaned me when I told her I didn't want to invest a whole lot of money in this yoga stuff, so I was sure I'd like it. Sure, some of the other women looked puzzled when I lay down and stayed down. But what can I tell you? It was the first time in for freaking ever that I had some me time, phone off, panties granny, and it felt wonderful. Laying there while the others practiced some serious deep breathing and challenging poses like old pussy in the sky or some such. I understood why everybody loves yoga. I went to sleep and was awakened an hour later by the instructor gently kneading my thigh, my perfect enormous thigh. Trying to sleep here, I mumbled, but she just smiled, one of those real peaceful yoga-induced smiles. We want to keep the muscles as relaxed as possible. Was she high? If I was any more relaxed, I'd be in an urn on somebody's mantle. I was deliciously relaxed and understood why people who take naps in the middle of the day always feel so refreshed. At this rate, I'd be one of those irritating people who has a license plate holder that reads, my other car is a yoga mat. After that, she announced we would take some deep breaths and thank our sun gods or something like that. It involved putting your hands in front of you and making a praying gesture for about 2 seconds, which, let me tell you, my muscles paid for the next day. I practically couldn't get out of bed. Yoga's going to be a much better fit for me than Pilates, which, because I was raised Southern Baptist, I mispronounced for a very long time. I know you know what I mean. Until my unchurched heathen friend told me it had nothing to do with Pontius Pilate. True story, y'all. It's pronounced Pilates, she said with clear irritation. She's one of those snooty talk types who talks a lot about how all the hypocrites are in church and she believes that God is everywhere around her. Not meaning to be cruel. I hope for his sake it wasn't true the day she seriously cut one in yoga class. That's a dirty little secret about yoga, all the pooping that goes on. Sure, you can try to sneak it out in low gear, but everybody still knows. So while you're in the loving warrior stance, when you should be breathing deeply and feeling the life force come up your chakras or whatever, you're just worried to death that the whole class is going to hear you for it out loud. I'm not sure how Elizabeth Gilbert dealt with that, because there's no way you can eat 9 pizzas for lunch and then go to yoga. Even if it's a few days later, you'd still be floating up in the air like the idiot balloon boy. I think I'll keep doing yoga for a while, staying away from the new Yoga Lattes class I heard about, which combines yoga and Pilates with a foamy cappuccino concoction. After all, even though I'm not making real progress in the meditative closing moments when I'm supposed to be open to the universe and instead routinely making my grocery list in my head and worried about how unfair it is for me to need gum grafts at the same time my kid needs orthodontia, and where the hell is all that money going to come from? The instructor says that all this openness to the will of the universe will take time. One does not just leap into meditation. It can take years of practice. Even Elizabeth Gilbert said that. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that to kick in, I'll continue to eat pizza, just for the sake of my heart.